I don't think people take advantage of, I call him my Aspie superhero, because there's so many positives that people aren't delving into. There are absolutely negative things like the transparency, and I think some people are like, oh, like women I talk to seem to think about the negatives and they'll be like, oh my gosh, my feelings would be hurt all the time. And then you kind of have to shift from, well, number one, that's a choice. You don't have to be offended if you don't want to be. But the cool thing is I know everything. I know who he is. There is no gray area. There is no chance that he would ever stray from our marriage. I'm not worried about that in the least. Just because he's so transparent about everything, he can come to me with anything he's upset about. I don't know. It just seems...
I think the comment that I have used in regards to that question was it would be too much work.
Very romantic.
Yes. Having one relationship is almost overwhelming for me at a lot of times. So attempting another one on this and hiding something would be absolutely impossible. With transparency, there's definitely some cons. Again, like she often, I will say some things that probably shouldn't be said because, you know, one of the things about successful marriages is you kind of got to know when to pick a fight. Well, I pick all the fights because if something is bothering me, she absolutely will know. Even most of them are absolutely ridiculous. Like someone left a light on or...
Heaven forbid.
Yes. So there are, it definitely makes normal relationships a lot more difficult because everything that pops in my head comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, and it ends up turning into being very nitpicky and like just nagging about everything because for him everything is, and I know everybody's different, but for him everything has a place, everything has a time, a schedule, and I'm kind of the antithesis of that mindset when I'm home. I'm organized at work and then when I get home I just want to la 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 la. And so it comes to be, it can be a little grueling, and at first like that was something we really had to get over because since it's so difficult for him to say kind things, like that transparency is very difficult, whereas the negative transparency is always on the tip of his tongue. And that may not always be what he's thinking. I mean, but it took a really long time for me to understand he wasn't constantly thinking about the things that he was, like the little nitpicky things. He's oftentimes just very happy with our relationship, but he'd mention all the little tiny things. So he's really had to learn how to rein in and maybe just make a face, I've noticed. So he won't say anything, but he'll turn around and be like, and get it out of his system that way.